Welcome to this webinar, which focuses on the topic of transitions, building on the information shared in our previous Transitions webinar series. It will provide an insight into the changes in practice in early learning and care settings during the COVID-19 pandemic and has a special focus on supporting children's transition to primary school in September 2021. Since September 2020, early years inspectors have gathered information from early learning and care settings regarding the experiences, successes and challenges in providing for continuity of high quality early learning experiences for children. This webinar is informed by this information and will share innovative and effective practices that settings have used to support children's learning, well-being and readiness for the transition to primary school. All of the advice provided in this webinar should be considered in light of the prevailing public health guidelines which apply in educational settings. Transitions are a natural part of children's early life experiences and have an impact on their learning and development. In early childhood, these transitions include moving from the home environment to an early learning and care setting, moving between groups or from one activity to another, and moving from a setting to the primary school. For many children, these transitions are exciting and positive. For some, they may be upsetting and worrying. There are many factors unique to each child that influence their response to transitions, including their temperament, the security of their attachments to key adults, and previous experience of change. It is fair to acknowledge that we are living in unprecedented times since the 12th of March 2020. We are all on our own unique journey as we transition to a new world that includes COVID-19. These transitions have brought new challenges for children, parents, early learning and care settings and primary school. For our youngest children, it is the role of the significant adults in their lives to support them at this time, to reinforce their developing capacity for self-regulation, independence and communication. These are key building blocks of resilience that are required to respond positively to the challenges presented during times of transition. Positive experiences of transition in early childhood support the capacity of children to effectively manage transitions later in life. We will now consider the key messages shared with us by practitioners about the practical and successful strategies they have designed to overcome the challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. One of the most significant positive outcomes of the pandemic for early learning and care settings is the increased use of outdoor environments. In the main, this has brought about many benefits for children's holistic development, learning and well-being. For many, the outdoor learning environment was a key feature of practice before COVID-19. Now, it is even more relevant as we endeavour to provide quality learning experiences while adhering to public health guidelines. Some settings have adapted their outdoor environment to ensure that all activities and experiences previously facilitated indoors are transferred to the outdoor environment. For example, sand and water play, meal times and messy play experiences. Some settings purchased outdoor rain gear and organised frequent walks in the local environment, meeting and greeting people in the community at a social distance. More free and found materials are being used in the outdoor mud kitchen, and there are more opportunities for risky play and for imaginative play experiences. The positive impact that this has had on children's developing skills, attitudes, knowledge and dispositions is significant. Their ability to self-regulate, demonstrate empathy and learn how to cooperate with others has been strengthened. Their physical skills have also been enhanced through additional opportunities to practice whole body coordination and spatial awareness skills. This enhanced physical development is very important for preparing children for primary school. Some practitioners stated that this time has opened their eyes to how much valuable learning can take place outdoors. A heightened awareness of hygiene and cleanliness has impacted on all of us over the past year. This has resulted in the rotation of play materials in many settings. However, practitioners identified this as a positive change where the quality of play enhanced as the quantity of materials reduced. They noted that children became creative and imaginative when there were open-ended, real-life and natural resources available to them. The development of these dispositions supports children's ability to learn how to be more effective problem solvers. The pandemic experience has also found its way into children's role-play scenarios, with stories of doctors, nurses, viruses, mask wearing and vaccination evident. Some settings have supported children in this role play by providing resources to reinforce the learning of new health and safety protocols in a less stressful way. Many practitioners shared with inspectors the challenge of communicating with parents, as parents for the most part were not permitted to enter the setting. Practitioners have been very creative in developing new and innovative ways to sustain communication with parents while adhering to the public health guidelines. These include one-to-one meetings outdoors with parents, the use of early years software app and online media platforms to share curriculum information, observations, videos, tip sheets and resources, outdoor notice boards showcasing children's learning experience, individual learning journals, photos and learning stories were sent home more frequently, celebrating children's progress, online video meetings with parents, and many settings were creative in their approach to establishing and maintaining strong links with the local community. For example, in one setting, as the manager's car was collected by a local mechanic, the children watched the car being loaded onto the tow truck from a safe distance, and follow-up conversations were supported with pictures to draw out children's knowledge and understanding of mechanics' work. One setting recorded a video clip with the fire officer during an on-site visit when the children were not in attendance. This video clip created another great starting point for conversations around fire safety and the local fire station. Maintaining a respectful, positive relationship with parents has a positive impact on how children adjust to the challenges of transitioning to primary school. Sharing information about the child's interests, skills, dispositions, and needs empowers the parents as partners in the transition process and helps them to communicate more confidently with the primary school. Improved communication between the school and the parent will be a positive support for the child's sense of identity and belonging, which in turn can result in a smooth transition to primary school. As we are all aware, the usual face-to-face meetings could not be facilitated this year. For many children, this means they have not been introduced to their new junior infant teacher while preparing for the move to big school. Even those located within a primary school setting have had limited engagement with teachers, usually at a distance. To counteract this, many settings are using scale reporting templates to support the exchange of information on the children's interests, skills, dispositions and needs with parents and primary school teachers. Due to the various public health guidelines, children have missed out on a significant amount of time in their early learning and care settings. Some practitioners noted challenges associated with settling children back into their routine. In response, practitioners have adopted a more child-led focus to their practice and adapted the daily routine to follow and meet the needs and interests of children. This valuable practice of supporting children on an individual basis can be used to inform the transition from preschool to primary school. This approach also benefited children who, on return to the setting, presented as more anxious than they were in pre-COVID times, due to media coverage and new terminology associated with COVID-19. It was noted by practitioners that the closure of settings had a significant impact on many children, including those with special educational needs. This included their access to face-to-face speech and language therapy, along with other tailored intervention supports. Many practitioners took a proactive approach to support children. They developed resource packs that were sent home, and they used online social media platforms for parents to access and use with the children. Settings highlighted the importance of supporting the continuation of this learning as they reopened by providing a language-rich environment and play experiences for all children. While practitioners noted that some self-care skills, such as washing hands, sneezing and coughing etiquette, were well developed, other self-care skills, such as opening and closing lunch boxes and taking on and off coats, were not as practiced this year. Based on all of the practical ideas and examples shared by practitioners, we will now look at how early learning and care settings can positively support the children's transition to primary school this year. This transition is a process as opposed to a single point in time. Preparation begins throughout the child's time in an early learning and care setting. It is important to create a nurturing and supportive learning environment which meets the social and emotional needs of children and develops the skills and dispositions required when transitioning to primary school. These include playful approaches to literacy, numeracy, language, social skills, self-regulation, independence, curiosity, and resilience. All children benefit from an inclusive language-rich environment. Storytime and open-ended conversations rich in vocabulary, animation and tone greatly support language development. A rich repertoire of poems, rhymes and songs is also a powerful way to encourage expressive language. This, in turn, supports interactions between adults and children. It supports children to express feelings and to confidently ask questions that extend the knowledge they have acquired through play. As mentioned earlier, time spent outdoors greatly benefits children's learning and development. Where possible, consider how your outdoor provision can be further enhanced to enrich the children's learning experience. This will, no doubt, be a positive legacy of the pandemic. Flexibility in the daily routine creates fewer transitions during the session. This enables children to spend more time and become more deeply involved with their learning experiences. Consider how your routine supports extended engagement in activities, promotes choice, and increases opportunity to develop resilience, concentration, and cooperation with others. There are many innovative ways of sustaining two-way communication with parents and teams of practitioners. Early years software apps and multimedia channels can be used to share information about children's development, learning, and well-being. These tools can proactively support how you relay information to parents about the curriculum, while offering parents a means to share important information about family events and activities with the setting. Information can also be shared with parents regarding local primary school open days. As you link with local primary schools, you might think about extending the content of Mishcale reporting templates to include learning stories which outline the children's play experiences and learning. It's helpful to display photos of the primary school or read social stories about starting school to help children become familiar with the sequence of events involved in the move to primary school. Some early learning and care settings and primary schools have been very creative in communicating via online meetings, allowing junior infant teachers to get to know the children, to read stories to them, and to help build relationships. We now turn our attention to inspectors' key messages for parents. Children encounter many transitions naturally within family life. It is worth noting that even small transitions can be experienced intensely by young children, because young children thrive on the security of predictable routines. As young children learn to successfully navigate these smaller and more frequent transitions, they build resilience, which in turn assists them to meet the challenges of more significant transitions that life may bring. To support your child's transition to primary school, you might try some of the following. Talk to your child openly and positively about what they might experience in school. For example, the bell sounds and lining up in the morning. Involve your child in preparing for school. For example, buying their uniform, new clothes, shoes, school bag, lunchbox, and any other items they may require. Help your child to become more independent by supporting them to open and close their lunchbox, wash their hands, and take on and off their coat. Refer to your child's teacher by name in conversation about going to school. Parents can communicate with junior infant teachers by sharing Moville reporting templates with them. The children entering the junior infant class this year will have had a different preschool experience. Some may not have attended early learning and care settings due to COVID-19 restrictions and family health concerns. Primary school teachers may consider the following to ensure a welcoming, secure and stimulating classroom environment. The children have spent a significant amount of time learning outdoors. Consider how the school environment supports play and learning in the outdoor space, for example, nature projects. Consider how you can support the children to play together, negotiate, cooperate and co-construct play experiences and scenarios which promote their learning and development. Think about specific areas of the curriculum where you can facilitate and encourage independent learning through play with the addition of open-ended resources and materials. Support children to voice their experiences of living with COVID-19 through expressive language. We know that children may incorporate the experience of the pandemic in their play by using doctor bags and referring to the virus in their role play scenarios. Children with additional needs may require individually tailored support around communication skills. If the children have not visited the school yet, junior infant teachers could send home pictures or videos of the classroom, toilets, yards, etc. to familiarise children with the school. Talk to practitioners in feeder early learning and care settings to gather information about children's strengths, interests and needs to build on previous learning experiences. The content of Moville reporting template provides rich, insightful information about the children's areas of interest, knowledge, skills, dispositions and needs. It will be important for primary teachers to speak with parents of children with additional needs who were supported in their early learning and care settings through AIM to familiarise themselves with the child's access and inclusion plan. Some children had less opportunity to practice skills such as opening and closing a lunchbox and school bag, so you may need to revisit these skills many times in September to encourage and help develop the child's independence. To support children's well-being, you may consider seating children together in friendship groups. Next, we will hear from Aideen from Little Stars Preschool, Moville, Donegal, who is sharing her top 2 tips for children transitioning to primary school.
To make the transition to school easier for children, the environment needs to provide for free play and freedom of movement. Taking a child-led approach to play enables children to feel confident and empowered. It's a nice idea to ask the children in advance what they'd like to do, so that you can ensure these opportunities are available on their first day. Many children are happiest in an outdoor environment, and facilitating outdoor play and exploration as a main part of your day is something preschool children are familiar with. It needs to be the child's choice where and how they play. The space can be set up so that materials for art, sensory materials, role play, musical instruments, physical play, books, and cozy area are easily accessible to children and that their use is not dictated by adults. If the environment and atmosphere mirror the environment and atmosphere of the preschool, the children can feel more easily at home. Communicating with the parents and families and having a meeting with the preschool teacher are all great ways to find out more about how your new children like to play. For children with special needs, it's a good idea to make a den area, a dark den area if possible, that the child can access as and when needed. This will have many benefits for the child and all the children in the class, especially if the child becomes overwhelmed in a large group or when there is a lot of noise. If the classroom doesn't have a specific dark den, this can be recreated with blankets or a repurposed playhouse, and something as simple as an electronic tea light or even a torch. Helping children to feel secure from the beginning by providing opportunities to be in a quieter space away from large groups will allow children to settle in the new situation. This can also be done outside easily with a wee pop-up play tent. Again, a meeting with parents and with the preschool practitioner, either virtually or in person, are the best ways to find out about play preferences and needs, as well as the voice of the child section in the transition statement. So, by aligning the pedagogy between the national school and the preschool, and by creating cosy spaces for children who may feel overwhelmed coming to school, a calm and smooth transition can be enabled.
This brings us to the end of this webinar. Thank you for listening. We hope this webinar provided helpful advice and much reassurance to all as we collectively move beyond COVID-19. Here is a list of further information and resources which may support you moving forward. If you have queries or comments, please email us at insights_info@education.gov.ie. We would like to sincerely thank these schools and early learning and care settings who shared the beautiful images with us. Thank you.